Hi guys, it's Becky Oshel, and for my final project for this class, I decided to do an escape box with my first graders. So I wanted to be industrious and write my own. And over spring break, I started working, and long story short, I ended up looking at Teachers Pay Teachers for some ideas, and I found this awesome escape box already done, and it is for first grade. So I went ahead and purchased it, and it's from one of my favorite books, Where the Wild Things Are. So on Friday, I read Where the Wild Things Are to my first grade class, and I told them on Monday we would be doing a special thing with the book. So I kind of dangled it in front of them. We have to really be paying attention. We really have to be listening and following directions and working together. So we read the book, and we talked just a little bit about teamwork and what that means on Friday. Actually Thursday, because Friday we didn't have school. So on Thursday we read the book, we did all those things. We talked about what it means to be a team player, how we can work together, how collaborative thinking is better than just trying to do something on your own. So taking a look at this lockbox math experience, this is a fun story where the kids are stuck on the island with Max from Where the Wild Things Are, and in order to get off the island, which they have 30 minutes to do this activity, they have to solve 5 tasks. So they have 5 task cards that they have to do. And each task has a math component to it. So they have to solve math problems, and they get a code for each problem that they solve. So they have to figure out the problems, answer them, figure out what the code is, and then they would unlock certain boxes or be given certain clues of where to look for things. So in this, I went to my library media specialist, Tracy Mattis, and she had one of these boxes with a hasp and the several locks on it. She has all kinds of cool things. And in this, you can see where the students had notes that they had to take, and they had to keep track of all of their clues on this sheet. So in this, let me show you one of the tasks. So one of the tasks was, task number 1 was answer 3 questions, use the code at the bottom of the page to figure out the 3-digit number, the clue that unlocks the first mystery. So they have to answer these questions, like what time is shown on the clock, what's the value of the coins, how long is the pencil, and then they use these to figure out what the number Q is, the number clue, and then that helps them know what to do then. So they go to task 2. There's puzzle pieces that I cut out. Anyway, this was really cute. They had to answer all of these math-based questions. They had to work together. This was one side of the puzzle, and then you glue this on the back, so then when you cut out along these lines, there were actually 2 of these in a bag. So you have all these different numbers. There was this one, and then there's this one. So it wasn't like you just put it together, you just look at the picture and put it together. You had to solve the math problems first in order to do that. Then there was some cause and effect, which I thought was really cool. You had some matching here where they would use these letters to put a word together so the word is found, and that was on one of the locks, one of the 5-letter locks. So I cut these out on cardstock and mixed them up and put them in a bag. And then there was, of course, these red herrings that you put in there as well, so they weren't really sure. That one took them a long time. There were these dominoes, so you would cut along this line, and you had to put them in order. So like you would start with this domino, go across to this, and then this was the end. And then on the back of this, it was look under a place that has 4 legs and is flat. Well, it was a table. And under the table I had glued this task number 5, which says write down the numbers that complete each sentence on the cards. The numbers will unlock the 4-digit numerical lock, which this would take you then into the actual final box. The fun thing about this was the the number sentences that they had to solve were written in invisible ink. So you had to use a black light in order to do that. So these were the problems I wrote on the cards, but the cards looked like this to the students. So they had to use the black light, which was just harmlessly sitting right there on the shelf, waiting for them to discover it. So that's the actual tasks that they did, the actual escape box that they did. And I wanted to make sure that I covered essentially those learning targets that work with collaboration, working together. You'll see in the reading targets, building on others' talk and conversations, responding to comments of others, taking turns speaking. That's a really hard one for 6-year-olds. So these were the reading targets that were addressed. These were the math targets that were addressed. And the kids just had the greatest time. I'll show you some pictures that I took. Here are some pictures from today. And this was actually when they were getting into the final box. They were so excited. And this was the 4-digit code lock that they used to get into the final box. These are kind of not in order. This was cute. This was my friend. You can see my friend here is using a little black light so that this friend can solve the math equations that are written on the paper. And then, oh yeah, here's more black light photos, and you can see they're just enamored with the black light. It's so cool. They've never seen anything like that before. I remember as a kid they had things like black lights and invisible inks in cereal boxes. They don't do that kind of stuff anymore. So there's that, and then there was some matching that they had to do. So this is my friend Layla. She's putting together, you can see she's matching up the cards. And then when they flip this over, it makes a puzzle, a big lock, which that was kind of cool. And then here are, oh, it was funny, I split them into 2 teams. So I have 24 students, and I gave them either a card that had a 1 or a 2 on it. You were either on team 1 or team 2, and they had exactly the same tasks to do. The cards on the team number 1, those were all in black and white. And team number 2, their cards and their clues and everything were in color. So that's how they could differentiate between whose clues, whose tasks, and who was doing what. So team number 1 had the black and white cards. That's primarily what you're seeing here is these black and white pictures. But I kept telling them, oh, you need to be very careful because you both have the same tasks. You want to be sure that you whisper so the other team can't hear you. And at one point, when team 2 discovered that they had figured out a clue, they got really loud. So then these guys paused and they were like, oh, are they giving away secrets? So that was kind of fun. And then here you can see them working together. This was team 2. They had the color printouts for theirs. They didn't do really well because they kept arguing over who was going to be in charge and who was going to do the writing. And I want to hold the task card. Well, no, I get to hold the task card. So they spent most of their time arguing while this team actually did very nicely and worked very well together. And so when they made it into the box, then they found these cute signs that they got to hold up. So once the tasks were complete, once they got into the escape box, they were able to reflect on what they had done. We sat down as a whole class, and of course, Team 2 was very sad they didn't get to get into their box at that moment. And time ran out since they only had 30 minutes. I went ahead and let the timer run out, and then we sat down and reflected as a class. And I simply asked them, what do you think? And so they started talking, and that's when they kind of reflected on their own behavior. And, you know, the team that was successful said, you know, I think we did very well working together. I think the other team spent all their time arguing. And the team that was not successful, they agreed. So overall, it worked very well. And I'd like to do another one of these probably in a couple of weeks. I'm going to let them kind of simmer down from this, and then we will revisit these same learning targets where they're collaborating, they're listening, building upon each other's conversations, taking turns, and then it seems it lends itself pretty well to math. So anyway, I really enjoyed the experience. They did as well, and I appreciate all that you guys have done and taught us in this course. Thank you very much.